In this video, we'll spruce up our level by adding in additional level elements and working on the design. No longer will this just be a floor. We'll add multiple heights, areas to hide, and also an area to wander around in between. We'll be using ProBuilder Basic, which we downloaded from the asset store in an earlier video. ProBuilder Basic is available for free and provides pretty much every single feature that we'll need. To begin using ProBuilder Basic, we'll go to the Tools menu that it creates, choose ProBuilder Basic, and open the ProBuilder Basic window. The ProBuilder Basic window contains all the tools that you'll be using to create the level's environment. I prefer to have the window docked to the side of the scene view to make it easier, so I'm going to do that now by clicking and dragging on the tab and docking it to the right-hand side. I'll also resize it to make it take up less room. You might notice that when the tab is open, some additional controls appear at the top of the scene view. We'll be using these controls as we build our level. Let's start making our level by first of all deleting our earlier floor. It served us well, but it's time for it to go. So we'll select it, right-click, delete, farewell. ProBuilder is designed around the idea of shapes. You make a shape, you can modify a shape. Frequently, your level will comprise multiple shapes. Let's start by making our first new shape by clicking the New Shape button. The Shape Tool window will appear, allowing you to configure the object that's about to appear in the world. You can see here that our shape is a cube. This is actually enough for us right now, so we'll click on the green Build Cube button. Next, we'll close the Shape tool. Because we're about to begin changing the geometry of this object, and this object is by default set up to be static, which is correct, including light map static, Unity will recalculate the lighting information in the scene for all the light map static objects, every time they're modified. This can slow you down, because calculating the lighting information for a scene is quite performance intensive. To address this, we'll go to the Window menu and choose Lighting. At the very bottom of the window, you can see the Auto marker. We'll turn that off. For convenience, I'll also dock this lighting tab in the right-hand side of the window as well. Now, as I move this around and modify it, Unity won't try to recalculate. However, it does mean that when I want to recalculate my lighting, I have to do it manually. Let's go back to the inspector. I'd like my object to be roughly, to start with, the size and shape of the floor. I'll first of all go to the Object mode of ProBuilder. That's the far left tab in the toolbar that it adds to the top of the scene view. When this mode is selected, I'm moving the object itself. You can see that it works identically to the Move tool that comes built into Unity. So let's set its Y coordinate to 0, just like the floor was. In addition to the Object mode, there are 3 other ways you can interact with and work with your ProBuilder shapes: Vertex mode, Edge mode, and Face mode. Let's look at all of these in turn. Vertex mode allows you to select the individual elements that make up your shapes. Notice how I'm clicking on each of the corners of the shape. When I try and use the Move tool, I'm changing the position of that vertex, and it's stretching itself out. The Edge tool lets you select the individual edges. So if I drag that out, I'm now changing the shape in a different way. Lastly, the Face tool lets you select a face. So if I move that out, I'm moving the entire face and all of the edges and all of the vertices that make up the face. You tend to spend more time using the Face tool than the other tools, but the other tools are useful as well. We could drag out all of the individual faces manually, but another thing to do would be to select the faces that make up the side, so holding down the Shift key and clicking the left mouse button, and select the other one, making sure not to select the handles, because that will get in the way of things. There, last one. Okay, I have selected all of the side ones, but not the top or the bottom. Now, I'll turn on the Scale tool and stretch them that way and that way. You might notice that the scale information in the inspector is not changing. We're not changing the scale of the object. We're changing the mesh itself. This is an important concept to grasp for ProBuilder. Let's make it a little bigger. Make sure that I reselect the edges. A little bigger, a little more. There we go. And make our area larger in general. There's a nice floor. This is a thing that is purely a matter of tweaking and adjusting based on how you feel. Alright, so now we have our larger floor environment. This is a good time to pause and have a bit of a break. In the next video, we'll continue building our level.